Alright, well, this is JCO. You guys already know where I'm from. I'm from JCO's Farm Equipment, and today I'm going to show you how to work with Giant's new sound system. They introduced a new sound system for Farming Simulator 22, which uses GLS files. Is it GLS or is it something else? It's not showing up. But basically, I'm going to show you how to do this. So what you want to do first is you want to get your sounds from your actual tractor. Now, if you don't have that much of a good quality audio or a camera or some sorts, it's probably not going to be ended up the best, but you can still get, if you want to bear with it, then go ahead. I ain't going to stop you. I'm just here to do the tutorial. But what you want to do is you want to get your sound and, or no, not your sound, your start and stop, your you're going to have RPM intervals. So what I did here, I used the 1486 we have, which goes from 800 RPM to 2600 RPM, and you want to do that in intervals. Now, if I'm correct, this new sound system has 6 intervals. So you're going to want to do 6 intervals, and for what I did 800, 1200, 1500, 1800, 2200, and 2400 RPM. Those are your intervals. In each one of those intervals, you're going to want to get the normal sound, which is basically it far away, if I could. And you're going to want to get your exhaust sound. That's going to be your load sound. Now, you want to do this on a not windy day. You want to keep it calm, because if you do it on a windy day, you're going to get that wind sound, and it's not going to sound good because it's on repeat, so you're just going to hear whoosh, whoosh over and over again, and you don't want that. So that's a big thing. Do it on a clear, nice day. You also don't want rain in there, or a thunderstorm, or a tornado for that fact, because that would be very dangerous, and I don't recommend that. So after you got in your sounds, your start, stop, and your RPM intervals, what you want to do is you're going to need 3 things. You're going to need the Giants Loop software, which it should be on GDN. I will put a link to it. Basically, you need to create an account just to get to the downloads, but after you download it, you'll be good to go. And I also recommend downloading the samples as well, because those samples will provide you with you get 4 samples, and it'll just give you an idea what you're doing and how to set up the synthesizer. Next thing you're going to need is your VLS media player. It's free. I will try to put a link in the description for it. And you're going to need Audacity. I've used Audacity for a lot of things. It is a really good software. I recommend it. After you get those 3 things, and you got your videos, you got them on your computer, whatnot, you're going to want to open up VLS Media Player, and you want to go to Media, Convert, and Save. And you're going to have to do this to all of the files, but I'm just going to do one for purposes and whatnot. So, those are already converted. My PC lately has been really slow. Let's do the idle, which is 800 RPM. Then you're going to want convert and save. And I recommend using OGG files. You can also use WAV files, but whenever I've done WAV files, it claims it's raw audio, and it doesn't like that, and it lags out your game a little bit. It's not terrible, but. And your destination file, you can browse a little bit, but let's just create a new folder just to keep things organized. So let's refresh this. There we go. Save. And then you're going to want to hit start. And basically what it'll do, it'll just process that audio into a new file format. And there you go. So, you got it in your file format, which is still a MOV file. Okay, well, it should be fine. And you want to drag and drop it into Audacity. Bada bing, bada boom. You got your sounds there. It's mixing whatnot. What you want to do next, it's going to be in these 2 files. You're going to want it to split track to mono, because it doesn't like stereo files. And you want to crop it to where you want it to be, where your good sound is, because if you look right here, let me zoom in real quick. you can see that little gap. That's going to be no sounds. And like I said, this is on loop, so it's just going to appear everything. And you don't want that. You want it to be smooth as butter. So you want to get rid of that. Then you want to play the sound all the way through till you find where it's a good section. Now, as you see right here, you can tell where the wind is because of this right here. So for research purposes, I'm just going to cut this down to, let's say, over here. 2 seconds long audio. I recommend more than 1 second, or at least 0.5 of half a second per se. Because if you just do it 03, then it's just going to be on a very fast loop, and it's just not going to sound right. Let me show you. So if we do that much, it doesn't say, and you just hit loop, you get that, and it doesn't sound good. So you don't want that. You want at least a second of audio, maybe a little more. And what you want to do is you want to export it as an OGG, and I'm going to export it to my Soons 2, because I already done this once. And you can rename it to whatever you want, so I'm going to say 800 RPM. And you basically label that for each one of them. You got RPM, 800, 1200, 1500, 1800, 2200, 2400, yada yada yada, auctioneering noises. And you want to do that for your exhaust, start, and stop. That's the big things. I'm not going to save that because this is only for research purposes. And then next, you want to open your loop synthesizer, and you want to browse for that file. I'm going to go ahead and open up the one that I already did. So you can see here, you got your 800 and your 800 exhausts, etc., and your start and stop. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and you can see that I already have it set up. So what you want to do first is you want to get your start and stop. Basically what you do is you browse and you find that file. So it's on my desktop, it's in Soons, it's in Finished. And it's going to be looking for WAV files, but as I said, whenever I do WAV files, it stays as raw audio and it doesn't sound good. So you just convert it to all files, and then you find your OGG, and it browses for that file, and there you go. We'll get to adjusting these later, but how you get the setup is you do this for your stop, your RPMs, and your exhaust sounds. Now, it has your preset RPMs, which if I click that, it'll just do it. It has a preset built in. But your RPM root is going to be what your RPM for that sound. So you got 1250, and your minimum is going to be the minimum RPM that it shows up. And then your max is going to be the maximum RPM it shows up. And you do this for each one of them. How I figured it out, or how I came to it, is that the minimum is going to be 10 more than the root, and your max is going to be 10 less than the root of the next one. Simple that, simple this. Your preset might do it for you, but I am not exactly sure. And then you go to your load, and there's just a whole bunch of things you can play with just to get it to sound right. But it's your sounds. It's going to be different from what I did. What I did is that I pulled up the Steyr sounds, the in-game Steyr sounds, because it's already set up. Come on, load faster. And I basically just read everything that it had and copied it over to my sounds. I could probably fiddle with this to make it sound better, but it's okay. And you just play around with it. You also have a log. It'll give you warnings for anything that went wrong, or what it do, yes. And when you think you want to see what it sounds like, you just hit play. It'll start up as normal, and you'll have your RPM. And then you have your load. And there you go. Next thing you want to do is, I'm not exactly sure, but I think you can extract the grains on this. I think you need to. And then you well, you should probably save it first, and then you save as, and then you, let's see here, where is it? You hit export for runtime, and it'll export this as a loop GLS. It's a GLS file. You do not need any audio after this when you put it in your mod. It'll just compress all of that audio and everything you did to it into one single file. So after you export that, it'll do all this yippy yappy stuff. It goes on for a little bit. There you go. Now, I felt like I saw an error. Yes. You have this warning for ACC and DEC no sound files set, but I haven't figured that out yet. I might do an add-on part if I ever do, but I've played with it in game and I haven't noticed anything wrong with it. So after you export it, you can just close all that BS, and you got your GLS file here. So what you want to do is you want to open up the mod that you're doing it in. You're going to want your sounds. And I already have this set up, but you can just steal one of the in-game's XMLs, and you'll have your motor template. And your file, it'll look for the file. Basically, all you have to do is reference the folder in the GLS file, nothing else, because the GLS will do everything for you. It's pretty nifty. And then you want to go into your XML, and you want to go to your sounds, and then you want to reference this XML. That XML is going to be all your sounds from what I've seen. And after you do that, you just pack her up and put her in game. Alright, so we are here in game, and fuck. Alright, so we are here in game, and let's see what she sounds like. See? Now, as I said before, it kind of depends on how you do this, but I think it sounds decent. I hope this helped you out, and there you go.